What's going on? Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, cover the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte 5, a.k.a. Man of the People. Earned the title by working hard for you guys. I hope you feel like I'm continuing to earn it. If not, let me know, right? Because I can't be the man of the people if I say, tell me if I'm doing good, tell me if I'm doing bad. Tell me what you want to know, what you want to see, and I'm going to bring it to you. This is the day after the Carolina Panthers have just taken on the Indianapolis Colts, and they lost. Man, my earpiece is falling all over the place today, so sorry to keep reaching for it. So I can keep fidgeting with this earpiece, I'm going to do this. Here's a man that gets to sit next to me every day in the press box, gets to hear all the crazy stuff I want to talk about and say. What's up, Casseday?
I just got to keep adding to this tell-all memoir that I'm gonna have to prepare pretty soon, man. This we're just adding to the list as the days go by.
Hey, I may have to die soon, so we can go ahead and get some revenues from that thing going, man. I'll just,
Oh,
go,
don't say
go.
that.
I'll just go live in Mexico and like, hey, they can't prove I'm dead or alive, but I'll get some of that money from it. It's a great book. If you guys could know the stuff that I subject my second year co-host to, as I try to get him up to speed with doing this thing here, he'd probably be like, gosh, God was weird.
Well, that's one way to put it. I mean, I wouldn't go along the lines to say weird, but definitely entertaining. There's never a dull moment between the two of us whenever we go on our weekly adventures to Bank of America Stadium.
No, there is not. And hey, let me say this while I try to once again get my earpiece fixed. I was pissed off about yesterday's broadcast. Just for you out there who may not have seen it, or just letting you all know that I really take the quality and the production of this show pretty seriously. Yes, it's a small operation, but you deserve good quality, and we are professionals doing this and credentialed members. So the broadcast yesterday was to feature Panther Nation podcast, Rashad and Dave. And shouts out to those guys for coming. It looked great. We hit the start button and things didn't work properly. There was like this buzz. So I am happy to report that it was not due to my lack of preparation. After today, it was determined that that equipment went bad. Yes, I only had it for
Oh
two
boy.
days. It went bad, and I had to send it back, and I'm ordering another one, and a better one at that, because I'm like, I can't have this. It's like, how many times will you have Dave and Rashad in the same place, and then your equipment fails? So I bought some better equipment, and we'll continue to get you guys some great videos out there, which I hope you're enjoying the quality of this video right here. So nevertheless, a few people have already signed on. 10 Tizzy, what's going on? The
What's
Mad
going on,
Chatter, who
Continzy?
is one of our members. So you know what
Yeah.
that means. He gets all the sound effects. Appreciate you, Mad Chatter. And then 10 Tizzy, he actually hasn't been around for a while. Andre, I'm not sure if you saw
He
the last
hasn't.
video. I think he said that he moved. And I don't know if he had more kids or he just has a bunch of kids. But he sounds like there's moving and kids involved. And I could just relate to saying, hey, there's probably some chaos. But Tizzy, good to see you. You still haven't shown your face yet, man.
Yeah, we're still waiting, but hey, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Hey, life happens, right? But good to have you on here tonight, Tizzy.
Yeah, and we can't make it like, one of those good old soap opera shows where like not until it's the final episode where you reveal your face. So don't make this dramatic where like in 10 years you finally reveal yourself as I'm retiring or something like that. Don't do that, man. But appreciate you encouraging people to hit the like. So this show is live and 100% interactive for the reason of serving you all, Andre and I, and we will have a special guest joining us, taking your questions tonight. So start leaving those comments. Super chats are a good way to make sure that you get seen, and we always give some preference to our members that have helped support this channel. So membership is always open and still available. I know you're like, Chris, you're 1 in 7. We're not joining it, but some people may still like what Andre and I are trying to build here, understanding that it takes some resources that we don't have and we need your help. So if you're able to do so, we really appreciate it. And last but not least, there's a link in the description. That's what we really want this show to turn into, is everybody clicking on that link, coming on, whether you have to vent, whether you have a question, whatever it may be. But we really want people to get used to coming on to the show. Who was it? Panther Pickle, he's been on a few times. My man Quentin has been on a few times, and then everybody else. I can see your face, but I haven't remembered your names yet. It's about two or three others that have come on. Where's the no shirt guy, right? Remember the no shirt
We
guy?
haven't seen him in about a week, but he had a lot of insightful things that he said a couple weeks back. And let me just say this too, from my perspective, right? I call these shows mental health Mondays, right? Because with how things have gone so far this season, this has been kind of a release, a really, really a feeling of, just venting out those frustrations and venting out any sort of angst that I have. So this is that opportunity for all of you out there to be able to go out, come to talk to Chris and I, your friendly faces in the media, to say what's up and to talk about this team that really, to be honest with you, is in shambles right now. I mean, I don't know any other way to put it, but this is a good opportunity to do that for sure.
All right, so we're going to give you a chance for to loading up those comments, and we're going to go through them. Super chats, people coming on. So that is a little caveat that I really didn't clarify earlier, which I will now. If you kind of like don't have patience and you want to just get on the show immediately, get your questions addressed, click on that link in the description. That's the way to that's like a turbo skip the line kind of feature that we have for you. Let's go through a few transactions that this Carolina Panthers team have made. Did I load it up? I did not load it up, but I think I can load it up. Bam! So normally there's some more formatting to this with some bolding of the player's name and more information. Andre knows. I just slid in here about 3 minutes before the show was ready, hurrying up, setting this up. Barely kissed the wife. I hadn't even picked up my daughter yet. My son thought I was coming to take something away from him, so when I went to give him a hug, he just kind of like hunkered down. But did I mute you, Andre? I'm not hearing you. Or did you mute yourself?
I think I muted myself.
Okay,
That's
there
on
you
me
go.
right there.
All right.
That's on me right there.
Yeah, so here we are. But let's go ahead and get into these transactions. Tariq Cohen, practice squad, injured reserve. Lucky for him, right? He could have just been waived, injured, settlement thing. They have so many classifications. I could have a guy. We need that guy that just knows all these terminologies of things that you really don't talk about often. But nevertheless, Tariq Cohen placed on injury reserve for the practice squad. So he's going to be out at least 4 weeks dealing with a hamstring. Corresponding move is that we signed running back Spencer Brown to the practice squad. Have you heard that name before?
Just a couple times.
Hey, but I feel like, hey, I'd be happy to get a check. Hey, I may be in and out, but I'm still getting an opportunity, right? So congrats to running back Spencer Brown for making the practice squad. And then it happened. Something, guys, you may have forgotten about. Marquise Haynes was designated to return from IR. So that means he has 3 weeks in which to get ready to be activated. Do you think that he'll be activated Thursday?
I mean, there's a chance, and Coach Reich has already indicated that Brian Burns will not be making the trip to Chicago. So, I mean, it kind of just depends on how far can he progress in a matter of 4 days to potentially make the flight to Chicago. I mean, it's a possibility.
Yeah. All right, let's go through one other thing. So there's not going to be like a full scale practice before Chicago, right? The game was just yesterday. The normal schedule is kind of tape review, get out of there semi-early today, no practice Tuesday, and Wednesday is an install. Well, they don't have that time cushion, so today was a walkthrough. Tomorrow will also be a walkthrough because you don't want to immediately go into pads because you just got out of them Sunday, and Lord knows you're getting dinged up, so you're kind of hesitant to put on pads. Give these guys a chance to recover. Wednesday, they will travel to Chicago, and Thursday they will play. So they really only got 2 days to get together and do some walkthroughs. So there's not really a true injury report for them today. But, they did kind of put out something because they knew the media was there to watch practice. So this list is why it looks a little strange. I did not bring it into the screen yet. Andre, come on, get it together. Bring the stuff on the screen right. Brian Burns has a concussion. C.J. Henderson has a concussion. So these guys weren't practicing today. Laviska Shenault still dealing with that ankle. He did not practice today. DJ Chark, Stephen Sullivan. How do you say this next guy's name here, Andre?
Luigi Villain. That's my guess.
Xavier Woods, and Chandler Wooten. None of these guys practiced today, and as Andre mentioned, you can really count Burns and Henderson out. Extremely unlikely that they're going to clear a protocol before Thursday, which at this point is 3 days away. So a defense that has been banged up is more banged up. And I say it again, I think Ivero, our defensive coordinator, he has a lot of bad things that are happening where I think he's not been given his flowers, as they say. Not that he's been given like a whole bouquet here every day all around, but I think he deserves at least a few flowers because this guy has been holding up a defense in which there's like nobody there that was supposed to be. I don't know if we're up to like 9 or 10 starters on the defensive side have been out.
At least.
And you have not had a week. I mean, I guess you could say outside of the Miami game, perhaps, but in Detroit, I'd say Miami might have been the worst. Detroit was kind of just like assisted by interceptions and things like that, which kind of all the games have been this year. But he held the Colts to some lows in terms of offensive production. He held them to one score because a lot of the other ones were the pick sixes. So, right. And he's doing it with guys that you probably don't. I'll be honest. The man of people doesn't lie. I don't even know all these guys off the top of my head. Like I could know them from looking. All right, this is okay. That was this. But just bam, 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 rattling these guys off the top of my head. You're lying if you think, oh, why can't he? Because many people cannot rattle off the 12 guys. I'm sorry, the 11 guys that finished the game on defense this Sunday. Ready, set, go. I'll give you $1,000. Probably could say $1 million bucks.
Here's a name for you: DiCaprio Boodle. Like nobody knew who that guy was coming into yesterday's game. Maybe the only reason why you did know his name is because of how unique his name was, amongst other things. So, I mean, they're really going far and deep into the depth chart with the players that they have out there. And to everybody's credit on that side of the ball, they've kind of held their own even up to this point in the season with all the injuries that particular side of the ball has faced.
Hey, don't be afraid to call into the show, all right? Click on that link, click on that link, click on that link. Meanwhile, let me see if we're really about to get into these comments here. Let me see if this chart works. Oh, did not get it right. Let me see if I can fix this really quick. Go ahead and talk about something for a second, Andre.
Wow, okay. Put me on the spot.
Just talk about something.
Got to add that to the tell-all, right? But again, just to kind of just piggyback off of the whole conversation with our defense. I mean, again, the injuries continue to pile up. I mean, with C.J. Henderson and Brian Burns, two key and important parts of that defensive unit. I mean, they're just all dropping like flies. I mean, you could literally have a starting lineup of injuries on that side of the ball. You could have it all 11 out there with all the injuries that we've had on that particular side of the ball. So, again, to Iverio and his staff, I mean, for all the bad that has happened over these past couple of weeks, that's probably the one shining light that we can all be proud of right now is how he's been able to hold that defense together.
Keep those comments coming. Keep those comments coming. After this, we're going to go into the comments. All right. Something that's become very popular, and I love to show. This is the passing chart for one Bryce Young. I'll comment on it since I've been the one who's always been leading these things. I have been wanting to see Bryce Young take shots down the field. And as we progress through the season, I think a little bit more like, well, geez, I don't know if the guy has time to throw one. I don't know what we can do to get this guy time to throw him, but let's just go ahead and look at the passing chart from this past weekend. One deep ball. Deep balls are considered 20+. He had two right at the 20. But he did complete one that went in the air 25 yards down the field. And that was able to be completed, so that was pretty nice. And then we had some other, outside of that one, though, I mean, once again, this still hurts me, man. I still don't like this. I don't care if there's a reason, like you can understand, maybe kind of, sort of. But the freaking fact that we can't complete balls more than like 10 yards down. Most of his completions were, I would say, I know we love math here, Andre. I'm going to give him 80% of his completions were 5 yards down the freaking field, 5 yards or less.
I mean, that's pretty telling right there. And his longest pass of the day up until that big play that he had to Hayden Hurst was 11 yards. 11 stinking yards. I mean, I don't want to be the guy to say it, but does it feel like we have the second coming of Teddy Bridgewater in terms of the passing, I guess, lack of imagination, if you will? I mean, it's just nothing but short dink and dump passes. I mean, it feels like we're, again, watching Teddy Bridgewater. Feels like we're watching PJ Walker, Sam Darnold. I mean, these names that we want to forget in the memory of recent memory, if you will, these names that continue to pop up. I mean, it kind of emulates what we've seen over these past couple of years, an inability to stretch the field and the lack of personnel to support it.
Hey, without further ado, let me close this here. Give him some applause. Give him some air horns and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's bring in our third person here because here's my confession. Here's my transparency. These kids are still kicking your boy's butt. So what do? I know I don't know everything anymore, and that's why you're going to see more special guests that are going to come onto the show and help me out and fill the. If I can't do it, I still got to bring the people here to help. Who's this guy? Identify yourself. CPI Security.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Tony Dunn from the C3 Panthers podcast. Hopefully my mic and everything's working okay.
Hey, man, as long as your hair looks as good as it does, the rest just follows in line right with it. Do you ever let that thing down?
What's that?
Do you ever let that out? That the whole thing?
Man, it takes a lot of product to keep it under control.
It sure looks like it.
yeah. And it's been a whole day of gym and, so no, not right now. It would be wild.
Hey, I would love to see you do like a Fabio kind of thing. Just let it out, man. And just
I got a couple of things like that. I got to put a lot of oil in it. It's got some ethnicity in it, though.
I like it. But Tony, I want to go ahead and bring you in so you could also express some thoughts on the things that we're talking about here. I'm going to throw it back on the screen here for a second. This Bryce Young passing chart, how do you feel about it?
I mean, it feels par for course right now. Is that this has been the passing chart weekly. It was nice to see that deeper shot, the 25-yard, was the first Hayden Hurst catch we've seen since like week 2, it feels like. I think it's just a combination of things. I don't think it's an inability to push the ball down the field on Bryce's end. I think it's just the inability of our overall team to create those opportunities. So, when you're not running the ball well, which we did actually in this past game, the play action isn't terribly effective. And the offensive line is just been offensive throughout. Yeah, I mean, it's true. And then our wideouts, I don't think this team was designed for Adam Thielen to just be the main person that you're feeding the ball to. I thought we were hoping to have a more balanced passing attack. And DJ Chark, I mean, I was just wrong on a lot of these things. I was excited about a lot of it. I thought DJ Chark was going to have a monster year. I thought in training camp he looked like he could be an all-around just premium wide receiver, deep threat, intermediate, short, and he is just non-existent. And I mean, maybe it's something to do with injuries, which he does stay hurt. He stayed hurt his whole career, but he can't get off the line, man. I mean, you watch him and it's just slow for being so fast. Supposedly, he just doesn't have a move that does anything to shake these guys up. So it's really just hard to evaluate this offense when week to week it's just a different problem.
Hey, I'm going to kick you off the show, man. You can't come onto my show getting these kind of compliments right here. Tony is the king of Panthers Nation. Shout out to the C3 fam. Wow. You got to get out of here, man.
Oh, wow.
That's my boy,
did he just become a member, by the way?
He is
Chris?
a member. I don't know. I got to read through the comments again, but yes, he is a member. Tizzy is a member.
Okay,
Those
that's what
are
we like to
the
see around here.
people that rock with C3 are the most loyal of loyal people. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to be on every pod. They're going to listen to every pod. They're going to listen to every radio interview, everything. These guys comb the internet. We don't even have to do any work. They take care of it for us.
I like it. I like it. I'm gonna have to, you know, I keep trying to figure out ways to hire Tony to be with us. It hasn't. I
I
haven't
got
even
to
come
move to
close.
Charlotte, I guess.
I've not even come close, man. But I would have loved to have had you yesterday on that little. I had a production. I felt like it was a production nightmare, but I digress. Let me show this one other thing, and then I got to get into the comments, which is what we promised people. We're 22 minutes into the show, and haven't went through them. So let me drink my water.
Get it all together there.
And Tony, I will like to say that when we do have guests on like yourself, as we toss these around, don't we encourage you to be the first one to jump in. Don't be shy about doing that. And but we will try to keep our responses to maybe about 3 or 4 minutes so we can get through all the guys and girls that are on this show. This is what the other part that I want to show you. It just bugs me. I don't know, Tony. It doesn't seem like it bugs you as much as it bugs me. Here's Gardner Minshew.
Dude,
His
he's the
chart
man.
from yesterday. Okay, his team won, but we all know that they didn't play well whatsoever. He had 127 yards total. Had less than Bryce, right? Did he have less than Bryce?
Yes,
Bryce
yes.
had
Yep.
well, I was trying to show this.
170 something.
180?
I think 170.
173.
I got all the information, but I can't show it. Bryce
173.
All right, 173. But look here. I'd say 50% of his shots were more than 5 yards, which Bryce couldn't do. Which, as Tony says, is not just all on Bryce. It has to do something with the team collectively, with your line, with your wide receivers, and them getting open where you feel like you can throw the ball deep enough to them. But Tony, am I just the only one super mad about this, or?
No. I mean, all of Panther fans are remarkably frustrated just because no one expected it to be this bad. No one, I don't think, I mean, with rose-colored glasses, you thought this team could go win 10 games. But, I mean, we knew that there was going to be a transition period, rookie quarterback and new coaching staff and completely overhauled offensive roster in some ways. First, you can't fight the Minshew magic, bro. The drip for that guy is legit for me. He played a year at East Carolina University, my alum. I'm a ECU alum, and I live in Greenville, North Carolina. So I've always been rooting for Gardner Minshew. But, he didn't have to do much in this game. In fact, the entire Colts offense didn't have to do anything. Not only did they kind of jump out ahead, but they got fortunate, that our offense stalled after a really good field position and turnover like a muff punt, but then they got bailed out with the softest of calls, which led to a touchdown for them. So they were playing from ahead, and then we scored more for them on our offense than we did on our own offense. So their offense didn't have to do anything. But I think one thing, just to go back to Bryce Young briefly for that passing chart, if it does bother you, I think there is one thing that Bryce should be kind of culpable for on this. And sometimes I just don't think he rips it. I mean, he holds on to it a little bit. We saw when Andy Dalton played against the Seattle Seahawks that they push. And I don't think that the play design is crazily different, to be honest. What I think is I think Andy Dalton, instead of trying to go through every single protection, looks and finds the matchup that's most beneficial and just rips it. And there's so many times, I guess it's hard when you're not looking at the film, like from the all 22 and all this crap, which I don't really care to go do at this point. It just was a disaster. But when you see the broadcast view, you only see the offensive line and Bryce. So you don't really get to see what the receivers are doing until the ball is thrown. And every time he drops back, I'm like, rip it. And it just never happens. So I think he just needs to just take some chances too and trust these guys a little bit more.
Let me zoom through a few things. One was you touched on, Tony, let's see, what did I put in here? The soft call. And that was
Oh, it's terrible.
terrible. I got a photo for you that you may like on the screen right now.
Yeah, that's
Man,
a
it's
really
textbook.
good angle of it right there.
That's textbook. That's a textbook tackle, dude.
It's like, what else do you expect Xavier Woods to do in that situation there? I mean, he had no other opportunity to try to not hit him high. I mean, he hit him right below the helmet. So, I mean, what else is he supposed to do in that situation to prevent the flag?
I just want to give a shout out to our photographer, our staff. This Tony, this came from our guy on the field.
Nice.
Got that photo for us, Patrick Snyder.
Beautiful.
So if you like that photo, think it's great, again, a little plug to check us out on Instagram, where you'll see many more great game photos like the other ones that I'm about to show you. Because you said, well, his offensive line is offensive, right?
It is.
Here's an interesting sequence that could happen when your offensive line is offensive. Oh, there's the start of it.
Jeez.
Oh,
Piggyback right.
The next frame.
It's like dunking on him.
Uh-oh, I messed up here. The next frame is
Man.
all right. Well,
These pictures, man. What a camera.
there you go. That's a nice
You
little...
never hold back on your tech.
I try not to, man.
You always
don't
you
go
try
and
to over perfect it.
give me... Tony, hey. I just need to walk off the set. 'Cause he just,
Look,
It's
he's
upsetting.
even got an earpiece. He's got an
Right.
earpiece, dude. It's
That keeps
badass.
falling out of his ear, but hey,
It's
it's
like
working for him over there.
If I put on
CIA.
the headphones, my ears get all hot and stuff.
I know,
man.
they do get sweaty, man.
Yeah, then your kids might come and hit it.
But
and
you
like,
look cool with these big old things on sometimes.
Hey, you look official with it.
Did I have
Yeah.
one more thing that I need to get to? I think I got through it all because I need to run through these comments. The penalty, that there. Yeah, we're good. Let's go ahead and run through these penalties.
Really an undisciplined team. Have you ever seen a Panthers team this undisciplined?
We had a few penalties. 10 Tizzy, we'll go back to him. He said Bryce ain't it, which, some people were talking about. Well, should we bench Bryce Young because he's just not giving us the best opportunity?
We debated this on the podcast last night or on the post-game show, and there were good points on both sides. One is it couldn't really hurt to bench him right now and, kind of sit him back and protect him a little physically. And then one of the things by benching him you would do is get to evaluate the rest of the team a little bit in a way that might give you some insight to just see how much of it is a rookie quarterback and how much of it is the offensive line, the receivers, and some things. So you might get a different vantage point from evaluation. And then on the other hand, you hate to ruin somebody's confidence to show doubt in them from the front office. I understand fans being frustrated and saying things like that, but you picked him for a reason. You invested a lot in him. He's not going anywhere. At least he shouldn't. I mean, it would be silly to do something rash, I think. And you could let him learn through the School of Hard Knocks, which they've been letting him do. So, I think there's it just depends on what you think would be more beneficial. But we probably have to get on the inside of it, like in Tepper's office when he has that meeting with Reich, weekly meetings with Reich, and see, are they comfortable with Reich going into next year? What do they want to see from Bryce going forward? So those are the questions I think surround that issue.
I'll keep it moving. The Mad Chatter, one of our members. All of our members, the first time we see you get all these special sound effects because we appreciate it. The Mad Chatter says you need to be a run threat. I'm just going to skip over some of these words here. Needs to have a run threat, and Young had... Man, I can't see everything on my screen. Young had
I think what he's saying is
Sunday.
this. Yeah, I think he needs to be able to, that in the NFL, he's saying you got to be able to threaten with your quarterback. That's, that's coming from the perspective of a good old Cam fan right there.
Get the ball, run. Get the ball and run. B-Stein, hey, Chris and Andre, I know all professionals have a bad moment or day. This team seems to have continued consistent bad performances. Icky is lost. Wide receivers not getting it done. Just complete incompetence.
Yeah, I think, when you look at Icky, and I want to ask this question, like what's going on with Icky? I mean, this has been a trend that we've noticed since the start of preseason, and we kind of downplayed it, thinking, hey, it's just mental errors, things that, can be corrected. But we're sitting here week 10, and we're still seeing some of those same issues that we saw at the beginning of the year. What do you think is causing all that? Is it something that can be fixed, or is it just simply a sophomore slump that he's going through right now?
Well, it certainly is a sophomore slump. I mean, there's no doubt in that. You never. What's wild about this is someone wrote into the show or sent me a message one time, and it was before the season started. And they said, "You never hear of sophomore slumps with offensive linemen, but is this
Right.
possible that could be?" I think it was during the preseason. Look, I think, again, you put so many expectations on a guy that he's going to come in and be a franchise left tackle because he's top, 6th pick or something like that.
Yeah.
It might just be that either it's going to take him more time, like into year 3 and 4, to be a tackle, or he might just be a really good player that's playing in a wrong position. And it's like every time his run blocking grades are so high. Last year, I think we masked a lot of his deficiencies by just running the ball 80% of the time. So you just said, take that guy right in front of you and push him over. And he just gets beat. He's getting beat with speed every time to the outside. He's getting beat with power. So I think fans are reluctant to want to say that he could be a guard or should be a guard because that feels like you overdrafted him. You made a mistake with the draft pick. But if you look at a lot of these top tackles that come out of the league, a lot of them don't play left tackle. I mean, if you look at Penei Sewell, who had such a good rookie, or he had a good rookie year too. I think he was the year before Icky. He's playing right tackle for the Lions. You look around at all these other, I just don't think if you moved him to guard and he was really good at guard, and maybe even a Pro Bowl guard, that we should view it as a bad thing, But right now, it's like it's not going to get better for him this year. I just don't think you're going to be able. It's going to just take either more time and him get more comfortable in the future. But right now, it's just not. He can't handle it on the left. I mean, you're looking at this as I didn't think you could get worse than Matt Khalil. I didn't think you could, I mean, I'd rather have Byron Bell over there right now.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I know. Left-handed Byron Bell, man. Bring him up.
That is
That's
a new
mean,
level of down bad right there. I'll tell you that.
That's mean, isn't it? That's just fighting words.
Hey, Dom34 says, shout out to the panel in the chat room. Says also to smash the subscribe button. I like it. So yeah, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. All that stuff helps other Panther fans find out about us, and we appreciate it when you guys take the time to do that. My voice, I'm trying to hold on to it, and it's free.
It's free. You just
That's the key one right
keep
there.
pounding that thumbs up.
Eric Schaefer says, nothing like eating CJ Stroud's team. Then next week, Stroud has the highest scoring fantasy week for a rookie, and Bryce throws 3 picks. So not surprised, I'm sure, that somebody's out there saying, what about CJ?
Well, somebody. There's like a million people saying that right now.
You know what I'm disappointed in from yesterday? Is the fact that this team did not play harder for its coach, didn't play better. I really felt like, last week you got a feeling that they wanted to have Bryce with a good game, wanted him to beat the number 2 guy, which actually last week was the first time that they had the 1, 2, and 3 picks playing in the game. And I'm like, okay, here's a good carryover. Next week, we got the coach's former team. Let's play pretty good and hard for him. And it was far short. I mean, the defense, as we said, have done good, but it's really consistently been the offense. But go ahead and comment on CJ Stroud, one of you guys.
Well, I mean, look, is that their narratives are going to be intertwined for their entire careers, Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. That's just the way it's going to go, much like Aaron Rodgers and Alex Smith's narratives were sort of intertwined, and that was separated by like 20 picks or something like that. So
Yep.
we know that we're always going to be looking at every moment, and they probably would be too if it was going the other way. Look, I think that too many right now is like you're either a Bryce hater or a Bryce defender, and there just can't be a kind of a middle ground on that. And anytime that you say that CJ Stroud is playing out of his mind, which he's having a historic rookie year, he had a historic game. It looks like you're turning your back on the guy that you picked. But CJ Stroud, I want CJ Stroud to do well, and I want Bryce Young to do well. I think it'll be good for the NFL. I think it would be good for our team overall. But Bryce has just not been. I think part of it is this: we've listened too much to the talking heads. We just take what everybody says, and we just go, "Oh, it's gonna." We listen to all those draft nerds, man. I'm so sick of the draft nerds who tell us, "Oh, this is the best." Man, anytime I hear generational talent, I'm out.
You don't think about me
man.
when you hear that?
What?
When you hear generational talent, you don't think about me?
Yeah, I think of the fastest dad.
There
He's
you
the fastest dad. But like it's just I think this is that somehow we bought in and it's our fault too for not having any just like hold up here. Let's be excited but not go crazy. That Bryce wasn't gonna have that his transition to the NFL would be seamless. And I guess it does sting that Stroud is having so much success, right? But I also would say this is all the Bryce defenders out there who are ready to go crazy after last week's game against the Texans. First, we only scored 15 points. And second, let's not act
but the
like
offense scored those points. Let's not forget that.
They did.
The offense scored those points.
One touchdown. And this like narrative that emerged, I mean, Panther fans just wanted something to hold on to, I think, or something to get excited about. But that like Bryce substantially outplayed CJ. No, that wasn't the case. CJ Stroud had 2 touchdowns. I'm pretty sure he ran one in. I think he threw one. I got to go back. I'm pretty sure he did. But what happened was Bryce just got the ball last.
Yep.
And it was a 5-minute drive that went 60 yards. And, so, I mean, look, I don't think that CJ Stroud played terribly bad. I think he played like Bryce had been playing all season, just pretty good. And Bryce had his best game. Look, nothing's resolved in 1 week. Nothing's resolved in one season. But CJ Stroud is playing far better than anyone expected in the NFL.
Hey, we got a comment that I got to share here because we do have a lot of fun on our live shows. Tony, as always, you don't have to have an invitation. I know you always are doing your shows, which is respected. I don't want you to say, hey, guys, let me go jump on Chris's show for a second. Yeah. But anytime you or the crew have the opportunity, you're welcome to jump on the show. But we got this comment from D Money. The only good part about yesterday was hearing Andre say okay multiple times during the live stream, sounding like Lil Jon, and me just being the guy that I am.
Okay.
What?
A few Lil Jon what's for you.
Hey, I was trying to comprehend what took place on the field yesterday, which was not a whole lot of good things. And so, I was trying to downplay it as much as I can, but I mean, there was no other way about it. We just stunk up the joint yesterday, and a lot of it was self-inflicted. And I'm glad that he picked up on it because I was trying so hard to not sound like an overreactionist, if you will. But it was a struggle. It was a struggle not to.
Hey, my apologies. I played the wrong sound effect. I played the what? He was saying that you said okay. So without further ado.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. That was the one that we were looking for.
Did you get a soundboard or something?
Hey, don't come on over here in my little production place, man. You already made fun of me and perfectionist stuff, but what did you just play there?
What were those series of noises?
Here we go. and you guys may have to help me interpret this one. He says we should move
Okay.
OK from often injured and overpaid, but Luvu should be corp. What kind of contract he looking at? I don't get that. I don't know if you guys are able to help me put that
Luvu
together.
should be a core player.
Okay.
So Luvu should be a core of this defense, and we should stop relying on people. Look, I know everybody what they're saying. Like Dante Jackson, and that would be often injured and overpaid. Who else would be often injured and overpaid? I mean, I guess you could say J.C. Horn.
Yeah, J.C. Horn.
He hasn't been paid yet.
Well, he gets a fully guaranteed didn't he get, because he's the number one pick? Don't they get like a decent amount?
Well, he'll
of money?
get a,
I mean, at
he'll
first
get a
round,
fifth-year
excuse me.
option. He'll get a
Okay.
fifth-year option that they'll have the opportunity to accept or decline after this season, which they probably will decline because he just hasn't been on the field.
Poor guy. Yeah, just if he didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all.
Rock Jones, Chris, do you have trust and Fitz and this scouting staff moving forward? So I like that question, man, because I remember a few times hearing Scott, hearing Dan Morgan talk about their scouts, the process through which they go through things. And it was kind of blowing my mind. I never really thought about how big that staff is just in, recruiting or reviewing people to be on this team. But with that said, we do have a lot of guys that are not performing as you would have expected or as you would even accept in this league. And the person that's responsible for getting those people here is Scott Fitterer. So I hadn't said this before because I think I'm one of those guys that's slow to condemn people, if you will. But I do feel like he is now getting on that teetering part of like, okay, you got to fix it. Right now, I did say this yesterday. I do know this. It's going to take an intelligent, smart, good GM to get this thing fixed because there's a lot of pieces to this puzzle. This is not a one puzzle. This is a 100-piece puzzle right here that you have to get fixed. And if you don't go about it in the right way, and you don't
got the picture, you got a 100-piece puzzle and you don't even know what the picture is.
Yeah, so that needs to be addressed. It needs to be fixed. Scott is definitely not looking like the right guy to get that done at this point. I'm going to continue to move on so we can try to get through a lot of these comments because I got so far behind. But let's see. Keelan Bean. I know getting a wide receiver one will be important in the offseason, but I would rather get an offensive line worked out with the draft and free agency. What is the priority in your eyes? Could we be lucky and get both?
Look, the commenter, we should make them GM.
All right, Keelan, send in your resumes to C3 Podcast, Tony. Info at C3 Podcast.
I mean, look, is the offensive line is going to take, you can't address these needs entirely through the draft, right? I mean, and you could say that we don't have a first-round draft pick, but even if we did, his draft picks take so long to come along. Man, we don't have enough time with Bryce and patience with coaches, and this is not for long league. So you got to do some emergency triage here, and that needs to happen through free agency. And I don't care if we got Stephon Diggs. I don't care. I wanted us to trade for Devontae Adams. I ain't gonna lie. I have a reason why I think it could have worked, but none of that matters without an offensive line. And look, you just got to go. You got to invest in that. And we rested on our laurels too much on, oh, wow, we got a pretty good line from last year. Man, Fitterer's got to go, dude. I'm sorry. He probably, in reality, we don't know if it's him or Matt Rule's that legacy and stuff, but it's not good, dude. This team is not talented enough, and it's just time to bring in a new GM.
Well, and here's the thing, too. He's been here for 3 years. He's probably the longest tenured individual that's in that room right now, from the past regime to the current regime. And I think 3 years is ample enough of time to have a opinion about a particular individual, whether it's a coach or a player or in the front office. And I think, with how things have gone, up to this point with the amount of draft capital that we've given up and not getting any in return in the back end. There's a lot of swings and a lot of misses with a lot of the moves that he's made, and it's being put on full display here this season. And a lot of pressure is on Bryce Young because they made that investment to get him and not have anything ample in return to try to support him and what he has around him.
Try to burn through a few more comments here. Eric Schaefer says bad O-line, rookie QB, lack of talent, injuries equals 1 through 7.
That's their record. I mean,
Chris
that's a
Mack,
pretty good summary.
one of our members.
What on?
Special shouts out there. How y'all feeling about Bryce after this C3? What's up? That's from Chris Mack.
What's up, Chris? I think everybody is disappointed. I think we're disappointed with everything. We're disappointed with just the outcome, period. And again, like I go back to what I was saying with those draft heads, is everybody who just tells us that it's going to be so great and this and that, I think we just bought into it. Is like there was no way Bryce could struggle or even be a failure. And I don't think he's a failure. I think that he's just struggled, and he's been okay at times and not great at other times. But I think this is, I got an unpopular opinion right now, and I've been kind of scared to share it. I leak it every now and then on the I leaked it on the post game late after many hours. I think that we might need to go into next season with Frank Reich and the staff for one more year. I know that it seems inevitable that he's going to be fired at this point with this trajectory, which I would have that was never on my bingo card, that he would be a one and done coach. But I almost think that by firing him, we might do more harm than good. And that look is like, we need to give Bryce exactly 3 seasons. And it doesn't have to be a full 3 seasons, but we need to give him a full 2 and probably see where we're looking like in the beginning of the 3rd before we make a decision on him. And I just feel like if we change the coaching staff and all this, it's just going to be like another thing. Well, I mean, hey, we got a new staff. We got a new, it's just another carousel of excuses. I almost feel like this coaching staff picked Bryce Young, or at least they said they did. I want us to get a new I think we should get a new front office this year. I think that front office should take a year to kind of to chart and get to know the team and track the trajectory. I think we should give Frank Reich and everybody else one continued year. And then if things continue to look bleak, then just say, all right, well, now we're moving on. And the new coach is going to really make the decision about Bryce Young's 3rd year.
All right.
Unpopular opinion. Nobody's going to like that, by the way. They want to fire Frank Reich today, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't say that you can't fire Frank because he's doing a good job. But in summary, I'm on board with Tony in that you can't fire a guy because it could be one of those things that is detrimental. You just haven't gotten things in place. I say you got to give the guy a chance to correct himself. I know it's very painful to hear because it's just, it's painful for me to say because I don't want to keep reporting on the field where it's like, Andre, how many times are we like it's like quickly, we're the only ones out there on that field after the game doing a report like everybody's gone because they've had enough of it, but you got to report on it.
It's called dedication. That's what we about around here in these streets.
Integrity.
But
dude, we called this the year of 20C3. We thought, man, this is going to be the year that we pop off as a podcast. We've been working and grinding for over 10 years now. And like, we just haven't had, we don't know what our podcast can be when it's successful, when the team's successful, because when we were successful, we was brand new to this crap.
Yeah. Hey, I think there could be like a YouTubers Association of the Carolina Panthers that maybe we fight for a chair on the board of this Carolina Panthers team because they're making it daggone hard for us content creators out here to survive, whether you're credentialed or not. It's tough.
It is a
Yeah,
grind. It is definitely a grind.
there's kind of a tipping point, is like it's almost good to be really good or really bad as a team when it comes to covering it, because like a 2-15 team will get people angry and they'll be calling in, they'll be our post game shows a lot of times are bigger after a loss than they are in a win after a win. But then you're verging on this with that it's so bleak that apathy hits, where
Yeah.
people are just like, you know what, I'm gonna go play golf or go do something or go hang out with my kids or just watch Red Zone where I'm safe.
Nick Cartoony says the Panthers haven't started with a healthy team all year and could have won most of the games they played so far.
That's a take. Wow. That is a take. I mean, health is a big part of why the team has not had as much success as they would have liked. But I feel like even if guys like Shaq Thompson were healthy, guys like J.C. Horn, Jeremy Chin, just to name a few, I mean, we maybe could have won 2 or 3 more games, if you will. If they were healthy, they could have been the difference makers. But I don't think those players would have made an over the top difference like you're
They
making
don't
it
fix
seem like you're making.
They don't fix the offense, that's for sure.
That's the big part of it right there.
I do think Brady Christensen, losing him was a big blow to this team. But this team really gambled a little bit too much on that starting five. I mean, you had Austin Corbett and Brady Christensen coming off of significant injuries at the last year, and then you're like, oh well, maybe we can get this through with Savala. So that was a miss. That was a miss, on Scott Fitter, and that falls, I think, on Scott Fitter. I do think, to the commenter's point, though, is that early in the season we were in games. We were in, at least the first 2 games, and sometimes it seems like in the NFL, if one good thing goes your way, then everything goes your way. And then if if things start to go bad, it's hard to turn it around. And I kind of go back to Chris, this is a throwback here. 2016, the year after the Super Bowl. You have we're on the road. We go to Denver. I think it's a road game. Yeah. And Cam Newton leads this team down the field in the fourth quarter after getting headhunted all game. Does what Bryce did in this last game, or in the Houston game. Sets them up for a reasonable field goal. I think it was it might have been a 50 yard.
It was in the 50s.
It was. And Gano missed it. I hate Gano for this moment. And he missed a field goal in the Super Bowl, man. I don't care if he kicked a 63-yarder in a meaningless game. I don't care. I feel like if the Panthers win that game, though, it does something to fortify them against the Super Bowl hangover, against the foe of Denver and getting, the Super Bowl itself. And the momentum goes another way. But instead, that season went down the drain. Everything just continued. You had the next week, you had the left tackle, Michael Orr, get the concussion that kept him out for the whole year. And then Cam got a concussion, I think, or something. I mean, and it just spiraled. And so I think if we could have beat, who do we play, the Falcons or the Saints to open the season?
Falcons.
Either one. Yeah, the Falcons. And then, if you pull one of those games out and then you're close in the other game next, I just think this could have been a different story. And sadly, it didn't go that way. And then injuries set in, and now it's just been a snowball effect of bad.
I like your man cave, man.
Oh, thank you.
Seems kind of a random comment, but, I digress. And I appreciate you coming on, Tony, and you guys probably like, Chris doesn't talk much lately. I'm telling you, I'm still getting used to 3 kids and an in-law being in my house. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I don't know if they're watching me on TV, but my son is saying daddy like every 10 seconds. So it's some adjusting that I'm getting to. So, Tony, thank you very much. And Andre, I always appreciate you putting up with me. We got about 5 more minutes, but I want to try to touch on these few more questions that I favored here. So we could try to spend about a minute touching on them and continue to go through it. Leonard Kowalski says, Bryce is flat-footed in the pocket, and I can't name a single throw this season where I was like, wow, that's why we took him number one. Quick pause. 10 seconds on this. Cam Newton has a podcast and all this kind of stuff. Everybody does these days, talking about being a Hall of Famer. Tony, is Cam Newton a Hall of Famer? Or Andre, either one of you guys. 10 seconds, go.
Yes. 100% he is a Hall of Famer. He changed the trajectory of how people view the quarterback position, and he is literally a hero for a lot of these guys that are currently playing in the NFL. I mean, a lot of these guys looked up to Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson being one of them, where he set the pace for how the position is to be played.
10 seconds. 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Go, Tony.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm going to sadly say no. And I mean, look, there's nobody in the world that loves Cam more than me. And I think there's a lot of things that he did, all the records he set, it's just insane. I just think that the Hall of Fame is so based off of statistics, and the passing numbers aren't going to be there. And I just really needed him to have a second run in his career. His career just turned out too short.
Yeah, I say no. I don't feel like it was long enough, or did it reach a pinnacle enough. It was good to watch. It was definitely entertaining. Hall of Fame entertaining for sure.
Man, first 4 years you could not beat, dude.
Here we keep moving on through. Did I give you guys a chance to touch this one? Yeah, I think I cut you off when I read this Bryce Young flat-footed comment. Yeah. So when you guys toss that up?
I would say this is, I heard somebody say once that elite quarterbacks have to have at least one elite trait or multiple elite traits. Bryce Young, well, his elite trait is his processing, we've been told. And right now there's been mistakes being made with that and some different things. He doesn't have an elite arm. He doesn't have elite mobility. He doesn't have elite size. I don't think flat-footed is a problem. He's like just calm in the pocket. I think he is a short Alex Smith. That's what I think he is. I don't think he has a cannon. I don't think he has an inadequate arm either. I think he can get it done. But I don't think he is a guy like Cam that you can just say, we're going to put all our eggs in the defense, and then Cam, you just go be Cam. I don't know if you can do that with Bryce.
Andre, 30 seconds.
I think with Bryce, I see a lot of Drew Brees in terms of, the size comparisons and the ability to spread the ball around to many different players. I think when you look at the flat-footedness, I think, again, it just comes down to him just being, calm in the pocket and having poise in the pocket. And that's why you kind of get that sense. But, yeah, I will say we touched on it, Chris, yesterday while we were talking before the pregame show or during the postgame show. We haven't seen that one wow moment yet, and we're 8 games in. So we're kind of just waiting for that big spark that everybody's been trying to see out of him, which hasn't really materialized yet.
I think his height's a detriment too, by the way. I mean, I know that he's played short all his life and different, I don't think he's not like, oh, no batted balls, this and that. I think when that pocket gets real tight around him, he has trouble seeing.
Dom34 says, we keep cutting bait when situations don't work out right away in the first year. I disagree with that. Have we? I don't feel like we've been getting rid of guys quickly.
In reference to the quarterback position?
Oh, no.
Maybe there.
If you're talking about the quarterback position, okay.
Because, if that's the case and we are playing musical chairs at that position, ever since Cam Newton dipped out, we've had at least 7 or 8 guys start for this team.
It all started with the Teddy Bridgewater move.
Which was rushed.
Yeah, but then rushing on from him, too, even though I didn't like him, is that you paid him. Sometimes you got to see things out. See your plan out. You made it, and you believed in it. So that's what I think we got to do with Bryce. We made this selection. We made this plan. We got to see it out. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But just throwing stuff against the wall is not the way to go.
Willie Smith says the narrative after the 2022 season, extensive coaching staff search to find the best coaches to mentor the first-round quarterback, and the extensive vetting for the franchise quarterback. This is the team we have. Yeah, I mean that.
We found a
absolutely.
GM tonight. We found a GM tonight, and the next writer for the Charlotte
The
Observer.
Charlotte Observer.
Sorry,
Mike K's
K.
got some work. Mike K's got some work cut out for him.
Hey, and this comment here, I just got to put it up on the screen, right? Virgil
look at
Kane, hey from Manchester, England. Love and what's going on. So anytime we get people from far away, I think it's always impressive when you have, when you see where your supporters are from. I think last week we had a guy that was from Idaho that was on the show. Extremely big Panther fan. Was he Idaho, Andre?
He was from Idaho. I don't remember the town that he was from, but it's in a pretty remote part of Idaho. Let's just say that.
It only had 2,000 people there, so there you go. But rounding third base here, Donald Duck, which hadn't been on in a while. He's a big Matt Corral fan. I wonder where Matt is. Hopefully he's doing all right. But he said, I felt the same, Chris. They didn't play for Frank. Look what Jim Irsay posted. So this is why I put this comment out there. Have you guys seen the Jim Irsay post?
I did.
No, I saw the dance.
I saw the dance.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's what they're talking about. Him dancing to some.
Meek Mill, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the significance of Meek Mill and Frank Reich?
Well, I don't think it's that the tie in there is just the fact that how his celebration, that how he celebrated and what he was celebrating too, was
and
a little
the timing of it
captivating,
So over the top celebration, kind of rubbing it in Frank Reich's face, maybe.
Yep.
Okay.
It was something.
They say Jim
seen.
Irsay. We talked to a Colts guy, and they said he's that people love him. Like he's just and like they say he's a great owner, and that the narrative that he's a jerk and all of this has been created from the outside. I don't know, man. Is kudos to Shane to Steichen for having so much success in his first year.
Well, and I think the other side of that argument too, and I'll say this quickly before we get wrapped up. It's the disrespect that they did that in the opponent's locker room at Bank of America Stadium, which also factors into opponent's teams taking over that stadium and making it their home stadium. Yeah. That continues to be the trend coming into even into yesterday.
Yeah, it was a lot of Colts jerseys. It wasn't as...
It's going to be like that for the rest until we start winning, man. It's going to be a lot of everybody's jerseys until this team gives these fans something to stick around for.
Okay. Last one. We can all touch on this if you want. From Dom34, if we had gotten Jim Harbaugh, would Tepper have let him do what he wanted to build the team the way he wanted, keep him at arm's length?
Yes, and the reason is I think if anything that we could see with David Tepper that is one major flaw he has is I think surrounds himself with yes men. Scott Fitter is a wet noodle. He was a guy that brought in that could just be like, oh yeah, okay. He is. He's just a dude that agrees and is always in a good mood. And he could work with Matt Rule. He could work with Tepper. And I think Frank Reich, if we see the situation he came from with an owner that's got this bombastic personality, whoever, I always forget their GM's name, but he's got a big ego as well. Frank is kind of just Mr. Nice Guy. And I think that when it came down to Tepper and his influence on this quarterback pick, guys just wanted to keep Tepper happy just as much as they wanted to voice their opinion. I think Jim Harbaugh is a quintessential jerk in a way, and like he would have been like, hell nah, I ain't picking that guy. So I think that personality would have fended off some of Tepper's influence.
Hey, Andre, before you give your comment, I don't know if I could go. Yeah, I should be able to get back. I'll let you read this. We're going to have hate tweets.
Oh, my.
So, Tony, go ahead and join this random edition of hate tweets and read what's on the screen.
I got to read it? Oh,
go ahead.
This is from Shaqad Bartol. I should just say happy Hanukkah to him. This guy, I know, he's a great singer. Great singer. Kick Tony off the podcast. Cam should definitely go into the Hall of Fame.
There you go. Hopefully that made him feel good right there.
Right.
I don't know, Andre, if you had a comment on this Jim Harbaugh thing.
Yeah, I think the thing with Tepper, he meddles too much. He is too involved in the operation of the team. You pay people to make the decisions on your behalf. And I think, with him, he's surrounding himself with people that ultimately are not going to push back on some of the things that he is saying. And so, when you look at the two owners with Jerry Richardson and Dave Tepper, people were a little irritated with Jerry Richardson not being involved enough with the team. And I think right now, that kind of persona is something that we wish that we had right now. I think Tepper is just in every aspect of the team right now too involved, and ultimately his impatience and his impulsiveness is what's setting this team back further along. And that's a problem. That's a big problem.
I unfortunately have to end it there. I have a lot more fun things to say, a lot more fun comments that were in here, but if I don't keep you all wanting more, who's to say you're going to tune in next time that we have another show? So let me go ahead and hit this fancy button here on this guy, and let's see if we can give. I don't know what kind of. You want to play your own sound effects? You probably got a whole show and video and all that stuff lined up, don't you?
God, let's see. Here, I get you with. How about this one?
Between soccer, between the concerts, between football. To me,
Fire Matt Rule. We got that one, and
it's a classic.
I like. You guys, Ty Gurley fans? Ty Gurley grew up about 30 minutes from this. I love this quote right here.
When you want to hoot with the Owls, you better soar with the Eagles.
Exactly. Man, if you want to hoot with the Owls, you better soar with the Eagles. And we are soaring with the Eagles tonight with Charlotte Vibes Podcast. And if you want to hoot with the Owls, you can check us out on Tuesday night, 9 p.m., the C3 Panthers Podcast. It's the longest running Panthers podcast. And when I say the longest running Panthers podcast, we haven't missed a week in over 10 years now. And also, if you start this show, it goes forever. Ever. It's the longest running Panthers podcast. Chris, it was a pleasure hanging out with you.
Yeah, and links are in the description for those who enjoyed Tony coming on. I appreciate it very much. Andre, I always appreciate you joining me riding side saddle, and we'll continue to bring you guys some updates. Carolina Panthers will be practicing tomorrow, so look for an update there. No practice on Wednesday, so it should be a quiet day from us. And then we'll be game day on Thursday. I will, along with our photographer, let me go ahead and show this comment really quickly as we're getting off here. Michelle Yvette says, Chris and Andre joined late, came to say, your photographer is awesome. So yes, our awesome photographer will be with us in Chicago. I will be in Chicago. Andre will be at our lovely South Charlotte studio location, remotely joining
Undisclosed
South Charlotte location. So for the C3 podcast, for Andre, and I'm Chris Jenkins. See you guys later. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.